Hello everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this video I will showcase this simple card using items from Clearly Besotted. I started with die cutting this rectangle out of Neenah 110 Solar White cardstock using the Card Front Element Builder 2 from SugarPea Designs. Next I laid out my stamps from Clearly Besotted called Seasonal Lineup, and I stamped them out using Memento Tuxedo black ink. I fiddled a bit with the stamp, which is repeating the Merry Christmas, because it's a really long and thin sentiment stamp, and so this can sometimes be a bit crooked. So I used the lines on the grids on my stamping tool to help me get it lined up straight. And it took me a while, but in the end I was really happy with the result of it. And then I started stamping. I stamped it out a few times. That's also why I'm using my stamping tool, because I know that the first time that you're inking up a stamp, it usually is not stamping that well, but I most of the time forget to prepare my stamp before I start with a card, so this way it also works. And then I started coloring all the images using my Copic markers, and as you can see the images are all really tiny, so therefore I decided that 2 colors per combination would be enough. So I first start with my lightest color, then go in with my darkest color there where I want some more depth or shadow to be, and then I go back in with my lightest color to get that nice blend. As you can see, I'm always putting the caps at the left. This way you can see which colors I used. When the coloring was done, I decided that I was going to do some ink blending on the background with Distress Oxide inks. So therefore I first needed to make a mask. I am using the stamping mask paper from Inkadinkado, and I am stamping out the same stamp using Memento Tuxedo black ink just because this ink was on hand, and then I cut the image out. Next, I adhered the mask on top of the colored image, and I also took some purple tape to mask off the sentiment and as the bottom half as well, using the lines on my mat to get it straight. And then I took some Distress Oxide inks, being Tumbled Glass, Faded Jeans, and in the end Black Soot, but that was changed while I was doing the card. So I started with Tumbled Glass, the lightest color on the bottom, and then I went up with the darker color. So here it was meant to be Faded Jeans, but I took the wrong Oxide ink. So I'm just going over it because it's still an Oxide ink, so that's easier to get over everything. And when I started with Chipped Sapphire, as I originally planned, I thought that there was only a small difference between the two colors, so instead of the Chipped Sapphire, I ended up using Black Soot and covered the whole thing. And as soon as every color was added, I went back with previous colors to get that nice blend. Next up, I could peel off the mask, and because I didn't want to get my fingers in the still wet Oxide ink, I used my reverse tweezers. I'm not that handy with it yet, and therefore I'm fiddling a bit with it, but in the end it's such a relief when you lift the mask up and you can see that it worked out fine. So I really like this part where you peel off the mask each time, and the purple tape and such, and get that crisp line around it. And then it's time to peel off the purple tape, always doing it in an angle to avoid ripping the paper. And then it was time to add some embellishments on top of it. So what I used was Nuvo Glitter Drop White Blizzard to add on the head of the penguin. And then I took Nuvo Crystal Drops Simply White and I made some snowflakes that were different in size, and I just scattered it all around the blended background. And that finishes off my card. I really hope that you like this video and the card design, and hopefully I will see you next time. Bye!